This might be a bit of a hot take, guys, but I'm going to be the one to say it and I'm going to stand by it. The 9 to 5 job isn't as bad as you think it is. And I might be in my own corner on that and standing on my own saying that. But in reality, it's not that simple. It's not necessarily the 9 to 5 being bad. It's so much more complicated than that. And I've been seeing a lot of hate online recently, mainly on YouTube, on the 9 to 5 job. People saying, oh, then quit your 9 to 5, or the 9 to 5 is horrible, or it's making me go crazy, or whatever, right? And there's even a lot of like huge, well-known YouTubers and podcasters talk about this. And I'm also not going to be the one to say that there aren't some bad 9 to 5 jobs. I know there are. But in general, there's bad jobs. I'm not saying that there aren't bad 9 to 5 jobs, but I want to focus more on the fact specifically on the 9 to 5 job, right, that we think about. And I really think in most cases, it's not the 9 to 5 that you hate. It's more complicated than that. And I want to talk about what the 9 to 5 job in general provides before I get into what the reason is that you hate your 9 to 5, I think. Because I think it's an obvious reason, to tell you the truth. But to go over kind of what the 9 to 5 job brings us, right? When we think about this as just a job category, I mean, you're getting very good structure out of a job, right? You're getting a consistent work schedule. You're getting that stability, especially in today's economy right now where things are wobbly, right? It's hard for a lot of people to get jobs. I mean, people graduating out of college, kids graduating out of college, kids graduating out of graduate programs are having tough times getting entry-level positions. You know, it's tough, right? And it creates that stability for you. And I'm not saying some companies don't lay people off in 9 to 5s and whatnot, but in general, right, the 9 to 5 provides some pretty solid stability. And along with that, with the stability, it provides consistent, in most cases, work scheduling structure. So you're usually going to work, ironically, from 9 to 5, right? So you have that consistent work schedule. You can allocate your time on the outside of that, right? Like before you start or after you start to do the things you need to, right? You typically get weekends, which is nice, right? You get 2 days off. Sometimes that's broken up or you get your days divvied. I don't know how it works, right? And if you're a salaried person, it's different. I'm not really talking about that. I'm just talking about 9 to 5 jobs in general. But you also might get time off, right? There's a lot of benefits you can get from working at a big company in a 9 to 5 position, right? You get all these benefits. You might get insurance, time off like vacation and sick time, like all these different things. So when you're talking about 9 to 5 jobs, there's a lot of great things here that we get as a society for working in a 9 to 5 job. Now I'm going to get into the reason I bet most people hate their 9 to 5, and it really is the deal breaker. And I think once you guys hear my point here, it'll make sense where I'm going. There is one thing that I have noticed is the biggest difference maker in whether a job is good or bad. And it doesn't even really matter that it's a 9 to 5, but people are now picking on the 9 to 5. And I really think it's this reason, and it's people in general, right? I think people make or break a job. And I'm not talking about yourself. I'm talking about the people you work with, right? The environment that is created that you are working in. Is it a good working environment? Are the people good or are they bad people? And that is the factor. So when I think people talk about how bad 9 to 5s are, I don't think it's necessarily the 9 to 5. I think it's that people that hate them are just working with bad people. Straight up. We've all had good and bad coworkers. I think we can agree. And we know that working with good people makes a world of a difference. And working with bad people also makes a world of a difference. But speaking from my experience, so I've worked in this company now that I've worked at, this corporate company for the last almost 5 years now, coming up on 5 years in a couple months. And I've worked with good teams and bad teams, you guys. And I'll tell you the truth right now, in my new position that I started a couple months ago that I've been talking about in some recent videos, I would say the team I'm in now is not that good of a team. And it's the management is just different from what I had worked with previously, and the structure and just how they go about things, and they don't connect with like the entry level position people like me. Like, I don't talk with them that much. They only come to me when there's a problem, instead of in the other departments where they actually came over and talked to me and asked how my day was, and I actually had real human like friendship relationships with these people. So the reason why I came over to this department is for certain experience. I was in a temporary promoted position in my company, and what I found out was from them, I wanted to stay on there, and they told me to go to this department that I'm in now to get new experience so I could come back and get a permanent position in the department where I was temporarily promoted. Because I'll tell you guys the truth, I absolutely loved being there. But what I also realized was that the reason why I loved it was not that I was passionate about the business. It was one reason, and that was because the people were amazing. And what I've learned through my career at this company is that I am not going to follow my passion, what I'm really interested in. I'm going to follow where the best people are in the company that can mentor me and that can treat me well, because that is the most important thing to me. And I really do think it's the most important thing to everyone else. I think we overlook it or we undervalue it, but it speaks volumes, and it makes the world of a difference in the experience. Like I had mentioned before, it doesn't really matter what kind of job you have, right? Like, you can be cleaning porta potties, but if you're doing it with a bunch of friends or a bunch of great people and you're all having a good time, it makes a world of a difference. So I used to work at a Costco warehouse when I was in college, and I worked there pushing carts. I also worked in the warehouse as well, but I mainly pushed carts. And what I learned was that I actually liked the job of pushing carts because I'm an active and healthy person. So I was moving and getting some exercise, and I would get like 40,000 steps in. Easy, right? 40,000 steps in, and was healthy and active and whatnot. So I liked that. But I also, the people that were pushing carts out there were like around my age, and like I got to hang out with them when we would push carts together, and really, I actually enjoyed the job a lot. And I think I honestly enjoyed that job more than the job I do now. But it was a good experience. But I took this job to focus on my career and whatnot, and see if there was potential for me to develop in this company. So, yeah, I really do think people are the number one focus when it comes to jobs. If you're working with bad people in a 9 to 5, I really don't think you should be stressing on it being the 9 to 5. It could be just the management or the way that the team is working, and you can maybe transfer out and go to a different part of the company you work for, and it might be 100 times better. So I just wanted to make that video, guys. The point really is just to show that people are the most important thing in a job, I think, and that should be the most important thing considered, whether the job is a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, right? It could be your own business, I don't know, right? A startup. It just makes it is the most important thing. So I hope everyone's doing good, having a great night, and having a good start to their week. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, and I really appreciate you guys for listening to this video. So thank you so much, and peace out.